Welcome to Sonoma Raceway, where the first round of the Pirelli GT4 America Championship is about to get underway. The field already on the second of two formation laps. My name is Ryan Marine. Amanda Busick is down in the pit lane. It is my pleasure to welcome Jack Baldwin into the broadcast booth alongside Pirelli GT4 America class manager, driver extraordinaire as well. More on that in a moment. But first, a quick wish for a speedy recovery to Calvin Fish, who's dealing with a small medical issue. We'll have him back with us for the next round of the championship at Circuit of the Americas. Let's go ahead and look at the starting lineup. Matt Travis, a runner-up twice in as many years the last 2 years in Sprint X competition. He'll start on pole. In the championship he's been runner-up. On pole here today alongside Derek DeBoer, a breakthrough qualifying performance from him. How about the little Dexter Racing team from Nebraska? Brothers Ryan and Warren Dexter. They'll line up in third, and on silver class pole position, James Clay and Nick Galante will start in fourth overall for Bimmerwild Racing. Then it's Murillo Racing's Kenny Murillo, Ross Schwest of Rentec Motorsports, WR Racing's Paul Terry, NOLA Sports Patrick Byrne, Smooge Racing's John Jesbray will start in the ninth spot. Jesbray, and in 10th will be Tim Barber from CCR Racing Team TFB. Can't get through all the field because we're about to go green. They're already side by side here as we head down through turn 11, looking for the green flag on the 2021 season. Matt Travis, the world's fastest accountant, starts on pole from the left side. He'll have the fellow Porsche runner Derek DeBoer from TRG Racing alongside. The field straggling just a little bit behind them, but great formation up front. Good jump as well for Matt Travis, who takes the green, gets the jump on DeBoer, and will lead the field up the hill to turn one for the first time.
Yeah, that was a nice, clean start. Matt hit it just right, got the flag, and looks like they got a nice run up the hill. And we always want to get through this corner right here, the first corner at the top of the hill, and get this first lap behind us as things settle in.
Side by side, in the pack, hairy moments on cold tires. Unlike GT World Challenge America, no tire warmers in Pirelli GT4 America, which makes these first few laps very treacherous. Temperatures starting to fall as well as we get deeper into the evening. And it's been cold here in the evening. Maybe not as cold as where some of you are watching from, but chilly by California standards, and the track temps can get pretty low and bring that grip level down. Travis able to make good his escape, and immediately Derek DeBoer coming under pressure here. That is one of the BMWs, James Clay, I believe, running in the third spot. Not sure what's happened to the Dexter Racing car. It seems to have slid back quite a ways. It was scheduled to start on the outside of row number 2, and we'll try and pick that car up here in a moment. It might be running in fifth as it stands, I think. But here comes James Clay, veteran driver, coming off a very solid year, looking to the inside of Derek DeBoer into the chicane, climbs on the binders, gets to the inside, and Derek is left with little recourse. He will slot back into the third spot.
Yeah, he wants that spot. James needs to get that BMW out to get it going. While the tires are coming up to temperature, he's a little quicker. Derek's dealing with a little bit of cooler situation, but the spot in this class, Pro-Am, Pirelli GT4 America Pro-Am, the competition is as strong as you can get it in America. Some of the best racing ever, and these guys are they have to earn it. If you win here, if you run good here, you've done something.
No question about it. One lap completed is Travis from Clay, from DeBoer, from Murillo. Ryan Dexter has fallen back into the fifth spot. Ross Schwest runs sixth. The battle on track is for third. Derek DeBoer has it. Kenny Murillo wants it. And there's the Dexter Racing Aston Martin right behind.
Yeah, Derek, this is a great opportunity for Derek. He's driving with Spencer Pirelli, TRG Porsche, and this is something he's worked for many, many years to get in this position. He's a good driver. He's improved steadily through the years, and I think he's going to have a good season. He and Spencer will have a really good season.
Ryan Dexter really strong there through the carousel. Dropping a wheel was Derek DeBoer. That's going to bring Kenny Murillo right up to his back door. A little bit defensive as Murillo took a peek to the inside, but not close enough to get it done. So Derek survives to fight another day, trying to keep this train of cars behind him. One of the best qualifying efforts we've seen from Derek in his career, but now converting it in race trim, that's something a little bit different, and the realities perhaps coming to light a little bit. It's a cool livery on that car. The picture you see there, that's the cover of a new children's book that's going to be coming out here in a couple of months. That Derek's wife Brooke has been writing, and their daughter has been illustrating, and it's got a racing theme to it.
Yeah, you can see Derek. He's holding them up slightly. I mean, he's better in some places, but overall, I mean, he's got his hands full. And Kenny's just looking at him. He's sizing him up. And where can he get by? He needs to be careful. It's early in the race. It's the same thing with Dexter. I mean, Dexter Racing, I can't say enough about those guys. Small team out of the Midwest, a family operation. They do a really good job, really solid. And the boys can drive. Ryan and Warren can both drive very well.
And it's nice of you to say so, because I finished second in a Spec Miata race to Warren Dexter like 7 or 8 years ago. So if you're telling me he's good, I feel a little better about myself.
They're both very good. They're underrated right now. I mean, people don't realize how good they are.
And it's a big step up for them. They've been running the Ginetta in recent years, making the step to Aston Martin, and very different platform, but a team to keep an eye on, without a doubt, as is Bimmer World, as always. James Clay heads up this operation, based out of Virginia, near Blacksburg. He's a Virginia Tech alum, football player back in the day, but very, very adept racer and has a great business. But let's focus here on this battle, because it is fierce. Further back, this is third on back. Here comes Ryan Dexter taking a look to the outside of Kenny Murillo, who we didn't see in this championship much last year, but he was racing single-make Porsches. And he's going to put that experience, that's tight competition there too, and he's going to put that to use. Further back, there's some twitch out of that Aston Martin. It's the number 59 car, Paul Terry, who was able to bring that back under control, but you could see how much ground he lost. Here's the move from Dexter now on DeBoer. Kenny Murillo already made that pass, and Ross Schwez trying to find a way by in the Ringtech car.
Yeah, and they're going to continue to work by. I mean, Derek needs to get that car up a little bit. He's a little off pace right now. I'm not sure if it's a call, what's going on, but he's really kind of struggling right now. You can see that.
And he's coming to pit lane, so there might be something to that.
Ooh, that was close.
Sure
that was close.
Yeah, that was Paul Terry nearly pinned against the pit wall.
He might have a tire going down, actually. He's coming in to get a tire change. Something's up. That looks like at the bottom of it. Where is that?
It's Elias Sabo driving the car. GMG Racing entered Audi. It must have been just before turn 10.
Yeah, just right as the chicane there.
Damage at the left rear.
Oh, that doesn't look too good. As the race up front, solid.
As always, in Pirelli GT4 America, 6 minutes in, 3 laps complete. Travis up front has a lead of 3.2 seconds over James Clay. Kenny Murillo now cycling up into third overall, but crucially, the lead in the silver class, and the driver behind him, Ryan Dexter, second in silver. We'll keep an eye on that. This is not so far behind. Ross Schwest running along with Paul Terry, Patrick Byrne, a late addition to that driver lineup for NOLA Sport. Good to have him back in the series. And these cars, you look at that, a Mercedes, an Aston Martin, a Porsche, and a BMW, all that close together. That's what GT4 racing is all about.
Yeah, and the Pro-Am division is just fantastic. I mean, this is a great place for guys to come in, take that next step, bring their coach. They've been working together for years, and driver one, driver two. So race one, driver one. These are the AMs. These are the bronze division guys, and you've got to be a pretty good bronze to hold your own with this crowd.
And we haven't had much chance to talk about it just yet, but I'm sure we will. The AM class, with a pair of bronzes driving, you look at the AM field, and they're not field fillers either. They've got, on their day, the capability of running amongst the silver and Pro-Am entries.
Yeah, and they're scattered out. You would think that the silver would be at the top, it'd be silver Pro-Am, and then AM at the bottom, but that's not the way it works out. I mean, this is a tough crowd.
And there is the AM standings broken down by manufacturer at the top left of the screen. Porsche from Toyota, from McLaren, from Toyota, from Mercedes. You got a BMW in the mix there as well. And that's just an AM. There is such great diversity in this GT4 field. If you've got a sports car brand that you like, chances are it is represented here in this series. And the competition has been so close over the last few years.
You back up to Matt Travis. I mean, we're not seeing Matt because Matt's kind of pulled out. And this is a great track for a Cayman if you're out front. you can really, really be effective here. That's what that Cayman likes. It just likes clean air, and it's a real tough car to beat if it's in the lead.
And that's been true going back a couple of years, not even just this new 718 variant, but I remember Matt Brabham showed up in a CRP racing older spec Cayman a few years back and ran towards the front in that car. So you're right, whatever it is about the construction of those Caymans, they continue to be very strong. The 46 there, that's Patrick BYRNE, a former Asian Le Mans Series champion in prototype racing, and has been doing some GT racing as of late. Did a little bit in a K-Pax Bentley last year, ran the first couple of GT World Challenge races in COTA, but has been in and out of the series subsequent to that. Great to have him in the NOLA Sport car as the battle for third continues to heat up. Kenny Murillo versus Ryan Dexter, a couple of very fast young guys who very well could be the future of the series.
Yeah, and Murillo's a strong brand, a very established brand, very, very successful race team. Kenny Murillo, good, really good driver. His co-driver, Christian Semchek, is equally good or even faster. He's the pro side. But, you know, you take a look at Dexter right here. I mean, these guys, this is a brand new car. They bought the car. This is their first race with that Aston Martin. And, you know, once I said underrated, you can see how well they're doing.
Had a minor issue in qualifying yesterday, a little bit of contact after a spin in the second qualifying session. Warren Dexter damaged the left rear bodywork slightly, but they obviously been able to make repairs, and the car is as fast as ever, running down Kenny Murillo, who also serves as this team's data engineer. He looks over the data for them when he's not driving the car. And his dad was a pretty darn good race car driver in his own right back in the mid-90s. As Dexter takes a peek to the outside, it's hard to make that outside lane work, but he's going to give it a go.
Well, if you start on the outside like that, sometimes you can do an over-under. You can go outside and then get up underneath coming off. He couldn't make it work that time, but he tried. You know, tried to keep that momentum going into the corner, take that high side.
Looks like there was a problem for the sister Murillo racing car, and that's a real shame, as here comes Dexter to the outside.
Yeah, and you see Kenny covered the inside on that. He had the run. Ryan had a run down on him, so Kenny covered the inside, kept him from getting there, and the battle goes on.
To put a bow on the Murillo racing story, they're also running a Cayman for Aurora Strauss and Christina Nielsen, an all-female driver lineup that is running in the AM class and has very high expectations, but they came to pit lane a moment ago. Amanda, I think, has an update.
Well, and you see Aurora out of the car, which is probably not a good sign. What happened, and are you guys able to return to competition?
Yeah, so unfortunately we're out really early on. That's not how Christina and I wanted it to go. That's not how the team at Murillo Racing wanted it to go. We actually still don't know who we had contact with, but someone came into the chicane and it was nowhere in my mirrors, so it must have just been a super late move. And the contact, as a result, our radiator on the right front is done, so we can't keep going. It's super unfortunate, and I don't know, whoever did that will be having a conversation a few minutes from now.
Well, as Christina said, you guys will be racing tomorrow. There was a ton of excitement around this team and the diversity in the Pirelli GT4. How important is it for you guys to be representing this effort?
Very, very cool. I mean, we're grateful to be part of a Richard Mille program that is showing diversity, being in a series that is supportive of it. And yeah, I mean, we've had some great partners that are supporting us and want to be a part of this. So all we want to do is, in the end, be race car drivers, and we want to go out and show performance on the racetrack. So that's going to be the goal for tomorrow.
We'll see you guys
Absolutely.
tomorrow.
Today was a blip, but we're in this for the long haul, and Christina's an awesome teammate, so.
Well, to Aurora's point, this is just the first step of a big plan that they have to help bring women into motorsports, something Christina has been very active in pursuing over the last several years. She's got part of an all-female driver lineup for the Nürburgring 24 this year is Christina Nielsen. She's part of this. They get some mentorship from Catherine Legg, who has driven with Christina in the past. There's a whole lot going, and we'll have more to say about it. That's a big spin from Elias Sabo, I think, and I wonder if that has anything to do with the damage that we saw earlier.
Something's broken.
Yeah.
That's turned that car around. That car will be on pit road here shortly.
119 BMW, that is Quinlan. Nikolai Elganian in the KTM Crossbow running to the inside of the other BMW. He's fighting with John Miller Those are 2 silver class entries. That crossbow is very unique indeed. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be seeing that car for the full season this year, but he and his co-driver, Mads Siljehaug from Norway, a Ryder Engineering factory driver, they've got some plans to race in Europe in addition to a partial program here in the States. And really a potent pairing last year, had some good results at various times. This is a track, though, that's been good to them. They had good runs here going a year ago. I think some misfortune at various times, but this is a track that suits that platform.
Oh, yeah. It's a light car. It's very light, nimble. You drive it like a go-kart. But they struggle with it in a lot of ways, trying to keep it wound up, as I might say. And it's strong in some places, and in other places it's not quite so strong. So it's a good team and a good effort, and the drivers are excellent. Both drivers are very good.
The team is Marco Polo Motorsports, and as I said, they had a good run here a year ago. Won overall in the second of the 3 races we ran at this track. Had a pole in the first race and a fastest lap in the 3rd race. And struggled to put it all together for the full weekend, but definitely coming into this weekend had some confidence that this car could perform, but lost that spot to John Miller, who is on a charge, trying to chase down Sean Quinlan. That is for 10th overall, but actually that's not for position in class. My apologies. The class battle has already settled itself. This is a little bit further behind. Bimmer World versus ST Racing. Tomas Mejia in the chasing ST Racing car, making the step up from TCA, raced a Mini last year, and looking pretty stout here in his first weekend at GT4 machinery. I asked him if anything from the Mini transfers over to the GT4 car, and he said, the pedals.
The pedals.
That's about it. Everything else is unrecognizable, but another young guy with a lot of talent behind the wheel.
Yeah, we're glad to have them. It's a new entry, and they're in for the season. It's great with ST Racing. ST Racing is an excellent BMW race team. Samantha Tan, her father owns that team and runs that team, and they're a very, very good race team.
Well, to your point, they've already won major international races this year. They won their class at the 24 Hours of Dubai.
Yep.
They won their class at the 6 Hours of Abu Dhabi shortly after that. So ST Racing around the world has had a lot of success already, and we're just getting started here in 2021. Michael McAleenan, part of the Motorsport USA stable. Good to have him back. And to be quite frank, Jack, I don't know a whole lot about that team, but they've come here with a big program. I think it's 3 cars under their tent.
3 McLarens, and great guys. They're going to run with us most of the season, and love their spirit, love their attitude, and they're very competitive.
And to your, again, it's an AM class car, but mixing it up right in the very middle of the Pro-Am and Silver class fields here. So doing exactly what they need to do to get things done. And McAleenan at the moment 3rd in class in the AM division. Quinlan right there at the front of this field. He's probably holding up John Miller a little bit. John has been able to reel him in recent laps.
Yeah, see how he's covering that inside, making it a little bit tough on John. He wants to hold that position. Sean just earlier today, won the GT America GT4 division in that race. So he got a little break and hopped back in. He's got 2 cars.
That's right. And John Miller here, a veteran of this series, a veteran of European racing. He's going to be doing both this year. He and his co-driver Chandler Hull have an ambitious plan. They already raced in the Asian Le Mans Series this year in a GT3 car for the famed BMW team Valkenhorst Motorsport. Yeah. Carrying that over here into Pirelli GT4 America.
Yeah, I'm talking to John about it a little bit. I mean, he's living the dream.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. He is a great guy, a super professional, super good driver, and I wish him well. I like to see his success.
2 years ago, he teamed up with Harry Gottsacker in Sprint X West and won the championship. And I was amazed to learn he had never won a championship before.
Oh, wow.
As many years as he's been at it, and he's not an old guy by any means, 35 years old, but racing's been his life, and I was very surprised to learn that. As we go back up front, quite a dominant performance from Matt Travis. This team, the last couple of years, he and Jason Hart, they get off to quick starts, but fade down the stretch. They finish 2nd in the championship in heartbreaking fashion 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. And I'm telling you, in Pro-Am division, they are the gold standard, both of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't get a better AM than amateur driver than, and you call him an AM. He's a pro.
Might as well be.
Matt Travis is an excellent race car driver, and teamed up with Jason Hart along with NOLA Sport. And I would argue that NOLA Sport, nobody prepares a better Porsche. They really know what they're doing, and they've got, what, 4 cars, 5 cars here this weekend, and all of them are good.
I'll confess, before a couple of years ago, I really wasn't familiar with them, but they have knocked my socks off ever since. Always at the front, always in contention. Similar to this Murillo Racing program. Didn't run very often last year. In fact, I think only the first of our 2 COTA weekends with Christian Shimshak, who we'll see in a moment, pairing with Matt Fosnot. No Matt in this series, which is a shame, but hopefully we can see him come back. As it stands, though, I think that pairing with Kenny Murillo is going to be strong. Ross Schwest, Rintec, another Mercedes operation, and Ross really holding his own.
And that's another team, Rentec, out of Southern Florida. I mean, every time they bring their Mercedes, it's fast, and they really know what they're doing, and we're glad to have them back.
Ross has some experience in a lot of different types of cars, a lot of Ferrari Challenge. He was second in the Trofeo Pirelli class of Ferrari Challenge a year ago, looking for that next challenge and making the step here into GT4 racing, but he's done some prototype racing, some Lamborghini Super Trofeo in the past, and just carrying all of that experience over. And Patrick Byrne, another one who's raced just about anything, prototypes, Bentleys, GT4 cars. It's a guy who's not all that old, but has built in the last handful of years a nice CV, and he's in one of those NOLA Sport prepped Caymans, looking pretty strong at this point.
And he got the call late because the driver had some sort of a problem, don't know what it was, but he got a call late. He lives nearby on this side of the country, and just came out here and jumped in the car. And, you know, it says a lot for Patrick, and it also says a lot for the car. You know, and you see those cars, how well they look on the racetrack.
And he's being chased at the moment by Tim Barber. This is the CCR Racing Team TFB car. Tim will be turning that over to the youngster Cole Serralo from Scottsdale, California. Tim, though, a 38-year-old, has driven a little bit of everything. He's done a lot of open wheel pavement stuff, like the Little 500, which is an amazing event. I covered that for the first time last year in Anderson, Indiana. But a lot of road racing too. He's run the Chili Bowl in recent years. Just a really all-around talented guy.
He's a good race car driver. He's good. And Cole has come along very, very well. Last year he improved tremendously, and that's another one-car team. It's a family operation. You know, it's a one-car family operation, and look at them. They bring the car out, do a nice job.
And that car we saw a moment ago, new team and a new car, the Toyota GR Supra GT4, run here this weekend by Smooge Racing. And it's Smooge himself, John Jesbray from Fort Worth, Texas, driving that car. My understanding is that name came from when he was a baby. He told me he was a chubby baby, and his dad called him Smooge. And so that's why they named the team Smooge Racing, and I'm fascinated by his co-driver. It's none other than 2010 NASCAR Cup Rookie of the Year, Kevin Conway, running as an AM. He was laughing about that with me earlier this weekend. I think those two are going to be an interesting pairing. They've been working together the last couple of years in a mentorship type role. Back to the front, though. Kenny Murillo still holding off Ryan Dexter. And it takes a lot of discipline to run a full stint, and that's about what Kenny has done. We're 3 minutes away, I think, from the pit window from opening, and he has run this whole stint full of pressure and still kept it pointed the right direction and has not lost much time.
No, he's holding, and it looks like the car, as the car goes, you know, the Mercedes easy on tires, and it's really well balanced, but the Aston Martin has the speed too.
And it's important to be easy on tires because, yes, we have a pit stop just like GT World Challenge America, but unlike the GT3 series, no tire changes.
No tire change.
So you got to make this set of tires last, which means if you're the second driver, you better hope that the guy before you left you with something to work with.
Left you with something, yep. Yeah, that's part of the deal, is to manage the car and turn it over for a good finish. And you never know when there could be a late caution, bunch the field up, and anything goes.
It's been pleasantly clean to this point in the race. This is our leader. Just domination here from Matt Travis. Nearly 12 seconds the last time by.
And you
building
don't
that lead.
see that often in this series. You just don't. I'm so surprised at this, but you know, you could see it in qualifying. I mean, and you watch that car, how steady that car is. I mean, they've got it dialed in. And, you know, Matt just has been driving that car now for 3-4 years. So, and he's just excellent at it.
Yeah, doing a really nice job. Seems to fit with that car. He and Jason Hart have a great connection. Dropping back to second, this James Clay car. Again, about 12 seconds down the road from Matt Travis, and I'm curious what the second stint is going to look like, handing over to Nick Galante, who is a veteran of racing kind of at this level, GT4 cars and some lower level touring cars, all BMWs primarily, I should say, with this Bimmer World team, but new to this paddock and seems really excited for the chance.
Yeah, and teamed up with James Clay, that is a very strong entry. You can see James, he's wheeling it. He's got a little, that car seems like it's a little bit loose, but
yeah, got his hands full for sure. Dexter taking a peek
Ryan's
there.
still trying to see if he can't figure out a way around. Now, that car, you see that crossover right there? That car tried to get out from under him. So he's got his hands full right now. That Aston Martin is not doing. See, you can see him working that car.
And Ryan Dexter ran this race last year. He was actually teamed with Cody Ware, who is primarily a NASCAR driver, has done some sports car racing, apparently set to do some IndyCar racing this year as well. And those two, as the silver pairing, ran up towards the front. Something went wrong late in a race when it looked like they were on their way to a podium, and really heartbreaking for that team. But Ryan was incredibly quick a year ago, and that's carried over here. Ross West coming under attack here. The 59 car is Paul Terry, another one who has really improved his driving in recent years. Was runner-up to Michael Diamond in the Sprint AM Championship a year ago. Ran towards the front, even amongst the pros on several occasions. Doing a lot of very good things in this new team, WR Racing.
Yeah, Paul has steadily improved, and you know, I'd say cleaned up his act a little bit. He was a little wild in the beginning, but Paul's gotten a lot better. He's become a lot better race car driver. Teamed up with Brandon Davis this year and Sprint X. And okay, so the window is open. So here's the first round of pit stops rolling in. The way the pit stops work is there's a delta from pit in to pit out. It's 92 seconds. That gives them 47 seconds in the box to get the driver change done. And you don't want to be short on the stop. And this is where the team comes in, because if the team messes up, you get a drive-through penalty. It's a huge penalty. So the stop needs to go well.
And correct me if I'm wrong, there is a 1-second joker that can be used once per weekend.
Once per weekend, right.
So that basically means, yes, the delta for pit in to pit out, 92 seconds. If you are, or I guess technically under, but by less than 1 second, you can get away with that once. You do it again, and you're in trouble. So teams ideally would keep that in their back pocket for if they're in a close race with somebody, then they could hopefully release the car to take advantage of that, but you really don't want to play it too close.
Only 1 second.
It's
so
a small margin.
If you go 1.1, you bust out.
Exactly so, and a drive-through penalty at 1 second's really not worth it.
So they told him when to go, and now he's heading down, got the speed limiter on, and they watch all this. Timing watches all this. So if they review everybody. So you can't get around it.
So Matt Travis looks like 93.5 seconds, so definitely safe.
Yep.
Derek DeBoer looks like lost some time on that stop. They were at 97 seconds. Kenny Murillo, they came in at 132.8, so that is within a second of hitting that threshold. They're safe as well. Looks like the Rentec guys lost a little bit of time. They were in 80 seconds. That is slower than you would like to see. Same for the WR team, Paul Terry. Patrick Burns' crew, that NOLA Sport team, they are good. They were right on the money, 132.486. So just a shade over 92 seconds as we take a look here at Sean Gibbons and Sam Owen, a new pairing in the AM class. Sean, the reigning AM champion, and found himself a new co-driver this year.
And that's one of the strongest AM teams there. Sean has been excellent. I mean, he's a real student of the game. I mean, he works at it, he trains, he tests, and he gets better all the time.
Nearly halfway through this pit window, we should explain there are 10 minutes in which these teams are required to come in and make these changes. You miss that and you are in some deep trouble. You can, the cutoff line effectively is the pit entry line. So as long as you are past the pit entry mark, when the clock gets down to 25 minutes remaining in this race, then you're safe. You don't have to get your service completed before then, but you do have to make sure that you are in the pit lane past that commit line in order for it to count. This is a real vote of confidence in Matt Travis for the team to keep him out there. Oftentimes in a Pro-Am lineup, you pit to get the Pro in because you figure you can gain more time with the Pro in the car for more laps. The fact that they keep Matt out there and he's running the laps the way that he is speaks volume to what he can do. Apparently their swap is already made. Excuse me, I missed that. I see now that that has changed, so apologies there. Nevertheless, he is awfully fast,
yeah,
but
now
is Jason Hart.
Now Jason Hart's in the car, and Jason arguably is one of the best game drivers in this country.
Let's get down to pit lane. Amanda Busick has an update.
Well, as Jack was just talking about Jason Hart, I talked to him prior to he got in the car, and I asked how's he going to build off of what Matt Travis has already been able to do. As temperatures continue to fall here at Sonoma, he really wants to make sure that he hits all of his points on this track, keeping all four of those Pirellis glued to the track.
Yeah, that's a good point. The good news when you go out, normally you think pit stop, you go out cold tires. Well, these tires have already been run for a half hour effectively at this point, so there's probably more grip for the second driver to start his rehearse stint than there is for the starting driver taking the green flag.
I mean, right now it's theirs to lose.
Sure.
So he just needs to manage it and not make any mistakes. You know, basically bring it home even from there. There's a lot of laps left, but and anything can happen. There could be a caution, bunch of field up, and the thing starts all over. But you know, with this comfortable lead, which doesn't happen often, this is very rare. I'd say today is a great day for them to capitalize on this opportunity.
Yeah, only a yellow flag, it would seem, is going to interfere with this, although you shouldn't speak too soon. You just don't know until it's all said and done. James Clay keeps that car out at the front of the field. And, well, I think he'll be coming in a little bit later. He's got more experience in this GT4 BMW than Nick Galante does. Galante, a two-time ST Class champion in another series in recent years, but still learning this a little bit, learning the Pirelli tire a little bit, which is new to him, and here comes James, extending this as far as they feel comfortable with, because the other thing to keep in mind, a full course yellow can kind of catch you out sometimes if you stay out of it too long.
Yeah, that's the risk you take. So do you dive in when the window opens, or do you stay a little longer?
Let's see what
it's always a flip of a coin on that thing.
Let's see what the BYRNE World team can do with its stop. Looking at some of the ones that have happened, something seems to have gone very strange. If this timing screen is correct, with Derek DeBoer's handover to Spencer Pompelli, I say that was done in 1 minute and 10 seconds. So I'm skeptical. That seems like a pretty big way to miss it. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. For that TRG team, here comes the James Clay car, handing over to Nick Galante, Massachusetts native, 43-year-old, making his SRO America, Pirelli GT4 America debut. Doing this pit stop here just a couple of minutes before the end of the window. Okay, let's see. See if we can see anything from James Clay's handover to Nick Galante. Not seeing it at the moment. Oh, big moment there. A collision on the pit lane. They released Nick right into the path of that ST racing car. I suspect race control is going to want to take a look at that one.
That's good. That could be a penalty right there.
And that's
definitely
where you said it. The teams really come into this in the pit stop, and it's not just calculating how to get in and out. It's not just helping to make the driver change as quick as possible, but being alert, not releasing the car into traffic. That was dangerous to happen on a crowded pit lane.
Oh, I'm sure race control is going to have something to say about that.
Just a couple minutes left in the pit window. And with that, here's a replay. Let's take a look. You talk me through what you see here, Jack.
Okay, so he was released. That was pretty close. I don't know. I don't think I'd have released the car.
And you hate to wait, because anytime sitting still is costly, but not as costly as a potential penalty. We'll see. Don't want to speak too soon. I'm sure race control will take their time and evaluate that. But I will say that I'm ready to absolve the ST Racing car of any responsibility. There's nothing they can
hit
do.
Each other.
Right.
So it's
That's
a swing
true.
and a miss. So
that's a good point.
Cost a little time, but it was close. I'm sure race control didn't like it. They'll probably have a little discussion with the crew chief, but I don't think there'll be a penalty here.
This is the Dexter Racing car. Stationary for just a moment. Warren Dexter getting behind the wheel now.
And Warren is also very good. He's not quite as fast as Ryan, but not that much slower. So, I mean, once again, their first race, new team. Not a new team, but with a new car.
Yes, they've been running Ginettas the last couple of years. Never done a full season, but they tell me they're in for the long haul this year. Really committed to it, and they might even have a second car at various points.
Well, you know, they're not fancy. They're kind of, they speak, they're a soft team. They're a single car team. They put all the efforts into the car to produce results.
There we go, side by side, Murillo and Dexter. The two teams doing battle there, an advantage to the Dexter car, at least for now. That is a swap of position. They were running in the inverse order prior to this round of pit stops. So the Dexter Racing crew got it done, and credit to Warren for getting out there, getting on it quick, and jumping ahead of the Murillo Racing Mercedes with Christian Shimshak behind the wheel now.
And Christian is very fast. He's, I'd say, the faster of the two. Well, he's the pro on the pros, Pro-Am. These are the pros. So,
very experienced driver as well, has been very impressive. Paired with Matt Fosnot quite frequently in recent years for this team, and that was a championship caliber combination in the past. So let's take a look at how this is running. Cole Serralo is out in front. I do think he did pit, because Tim Barber, I thought, started that car.
He did start the car.
But how he cycled to the front is a little bit beyond me, and hopefully we can get to the bottom of that.
I think we're going to get a refresh here on timing.
Christian Shimshak under attack here. He lost that spot to Warren Dexter and just had another car go by. The patriotic liveried Cayman sweeping by. So we got a drive-through penalty coming for 89 car. Aaron Povaledo behind the wheel at the moment. We're looking at it right here. That's the Rimtech car.
Yeah, it looks like they didn't shut the engine off. They have to turn the motor off before they do the driver change. The engine running.
Part of the regulations. Well,
that's too bad.
First race weekend of the year. Oftentimes you've got new crew members learning new roles and learning the rule book. And
everybody's excited and, oh, I just forgot to turn it off. Darn. You know.
Yeah, this was the car that Patrick Byrne started, and it is Russell Walker behind the wheel. He drove with his father David on occasion last year, including some class wins, if I'm not mistaken. Indeed, picked up a couple of them. And back up to the front, where Jason Hart has full control over this race. So the 22 has been cycled down. I think that was just timing and scoring needing to update, and so that makes more sense. Cole Serralo listed at the moment in 7th place, which fits to where he was before the pit stop. So yeah, that all adds up.
That's an amazing lead.
Yeah,
I mean,
23 seconds.
I've never seen that kind of lead in Sprint-X. I mean, it's an amazing lead. And I'd say catching Jason Hart is an impossible task at this point.
Now the rest of the field is just hoping for a yellow to erase that gap, but time is running out. 22 minutes left in this 1-hour race. And we drop back to take a look at the 36 car, Nick Galante. Now we go back up to Warren Dexter, second overall, but crucially first in the silver class. It would mean so much for this little team based out of Nebraska. Dexter Racing, family-run operation, if they were able to pick up a win on debut with this car at least.
Oh, yeah. I'm a real Dexter fan. I've watched these guys, and they're trying to build a brand. They've got a good one, trying to get some equity in this business, and every time they come out, they do a great job. And they bring a good car. It's always fast, and once again, they're proving it.
Christian Shimshak here giving chase, running in third and second in silver. So the running order as it stands, it's a Pro-Am car, then a couple of silvers, then a Pro, and then how about this? An Am car fifth overall.
Right.
And
Russell
yes,
Walker.
And we do have different classes, but everyone is running the same GT4 cars. There's no performance difference based on the class, and that rewards an Am entry like Walker and BYRNE. When they put things together, they can run up and fight for an overall podium or even a win.
It can happen. I mean, I don't think it's common, but it certainly can happen. I mean, a top 5 for an Am entry is excellent.
As we mentioned, that Am class is incredibly strong. Some big-name drivers. We haven't even talked about Memo Gidley, former IndyCar driver, is in the field, listed as an Am because he hasn't been racing much in recent years after a big injury. There's Ryan Dexter with a member of the team. Great opening stint from Ryan. Now looking over some of the data. But just Kevin Conway, I mentioned, won a NASCAR Cup experience racing in the Am class. So there's talent up and down this field as we look at Russell Walker now on the move, making his way past one of the Toyota Supras, and that's the Signal-sponsored 4-Bush Performance car. Great to have Toyota in the series with this new Supra, and they offer a really competitive contingency program to reward good performances if you run this car.
Yes, and that little Toyota is an excellent race car. It's just starting out now. This is their first season, and TRD is behind it, and I can't say enough about the effort they're putting behind that. And I have no doubt that will be a very, very successful car.
Absolutely. And Toyota announced back at the end of last year for any team running in this series, $3,000 contingency in addition to the normal prize money for first, $2,000 for second, and $1,000 for third place. And additional money if you were able to win a driver's title or manufacturer's title for Toyota. And they're very invested. They've got parts trucks here. They're looking after their customers. It's a full program for Toyota. More and more of these manufacturers see sports car racing and customer racing specifically, as the Covaledo car makes a move there, as a chance to have some marketing for their cars, but also they can make some money with customer racing, selling cars, selling parts, servicing the cars. It's at least not necessarily going to end up in the red. Plus, you've got the marketing component to it, and I think that's why GT3 and GT4 have grown so much.
Exactly. I mean, it's if there is such thing as cost-effective racing, this is cost-effective pro-level racing, and it's racing at its best. When you, like I said at the beginning of the show, if you do well in this series, it's not lost chance. There's racing going on all over the track. I mean, there's another pass. I mean, there's always somebody to race with.
Yeah, that's the number 888, I think, making that move. That is one of the Reardon Racing cars. Chris McCoy, Jeff Westphal, talking about great pro drivers in this field. Jeff is extremely experienced. Here is Nick Galante coming into the pit lane.
Oh, so something's going on.
There's your unsafe release. That's what we talked about. Remember the contact with the ST Racing car? We were wondering.
Yeah, like what I said, they shouldn't have released him.
And I think at a certain point, maybe there wasn't contact or much contact. Here's a look at it again.
But see,
it still was unsafe.
Go. The driver didn't know. The driver was told go.
Right.
And they saw the other car coming. And race control looked at that and said, that was wrong.
Yep, that is the judgment. So a costly drive-through penalty here. 50 kilometers per hour is the speed limit in the pit lane. It takes 45 seconds.
Yeah, it's
at 50 kph. That hurts.
That's a big penalty.
Looks like Amanda might have more on that story from Bimmer World. What do you have for us?
Yeah, and we just saw the 36 car go through here on pit lane, but from the official, the inbound car has the right-of-way. So what happened there was a pre-release, and that's why the drive-through penalty was enforced.
I think that meshes pretty well with what we were talking about. Makes a lot of sense. And again, nothing the ST Racing car could have done in that situation. And frankly, not much Nick could have done either. You're told to go, you go. That's what you're trained to do.
Yeah.
But it is a team sport.
Nick never saw the car. He had no idea. And the car coming in was pretty surprised.
Yes, it sure appeared that way. So taking a look here, Aston Martin versus BMW. 22. That is the Cole Serrallo car trying to chase down Cole Leafouge.
Well, the Serrallo car is ahead of, trying to catch up with Greg Leafouge, who drives with Sean QUINLAN.
Right, so I don't think that car, there might have been a lap car in the mix there. Apologies, everyone. It's, week one of the season and still learning some of these new liveries, so bear with us. We're learning on the fly. 15 minutes remaining here in the first race of the season. It's all NOLA Sport up at the front. Jason Hart over Warren Dexter. Kristen Shibshak third overall. But further back, it is still a fierce battle. These are all for position at various points. Andrew Davis has taken over the number 2 car. That's from the GMG Racing stable, running with Jason Bell. So another Aston Martin right behind him. That's the number 59. That's Paul Terry driving that car, I think.
And a great mix of cars. I mean, from the top, you got Porsche, Aston, Mercedes, BMW, Porsche again. And, it's all racing equally.
This is for 4th position in silver. Chandler Hull in the BMW, Mads Siljehaug in the KTM. And KTM really nimble, not necessarily known for straight line speed, but able to get it done in the braking zone. Mads really late on the brakes, clears the BMW before the corner. Give him 4th place in silver. That also is good enough. Well, not quite sure where that is in the overall running order, but still right on the fringe of the top 10, I think.
Right now he's 6th. The KTM is 6th.
Look at this traffic jam further back in the field. Man, oh man, Terry, Davis fighting that out. Patrick Gallagher a little bit further back.
This is a big battle.
Chandler Hull under attack once again. I don't think that's a lead lap car behind him. And McLaren, not sure where he's running. But Chandler seems to be struggling just a little bit, and I wonder if the tires got used up. I talked to some of the BMW teams this weekend, Jack, and a couple of them mentioned to me that they felt like their tire drop-off was greater than some of the other cars in the field. They were telling me, one of the teams at least, close to 6 seconds difference between the first lap of a brand new Pirelli to the end of a 1-hour race.
And that's true. And the BMWs struggle a little bit more because they're higher and they kind of roll a little bit, And this is not a great track for the BMW, although the weather's cool today. The track's cool. And that's really helping them out. You can see they're running up front.
I think they'll take this.
Pack. I mean, they're...
Yeah, Chandler Hull's 5th in silver, but we see Leafouge running up in 5th at the moment, 2nd in Pro-Am. Most of the BMW drivers I spoke to were talking about this as just try and maximize it or minimize the damage, I guess. They recognize, to your point, this might not be the best track for the M4, but still just trying to come out of this with as many points as possible. Chandler Hull, a bit of a reprieve here as the battle heats up behind, and the lapped McLaren backing out of it just a bit to try and help some of these lead lap cars through. Patrick Gallagher, though, not quite as lucky. Gets pinned behind in the RS1, not Lad Racing, Aston Martin.
And I believe Patrick will get by him in a hurry.
And there he goes, right on cue. Okay, what are we looking at here? Forbush Toyota with the Smooge Racing Toyota behind. This is the NASCAR Rookie of the Year from 10, 11 years ago. Kevin Conway driving that car. Took a peek to the inside a moment ago. And now we're looking at Leofouge following Walker. That is for 4th overall. And behind them, Kenton Cook on the charge. This B Sport Racing team, 2nd year for the team. Kenton, not just a driver, but he and his wife manage the team. Co-driver Brian Putt is the owner of this team, and Kenton told me they put a lot of work in the offseason. They took the car to a shaker rig. They feel like they really made some strides, and they're ready to go. They had some good runs last year, but not that breakthrough. This could be the time.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, putting a car in a shaker rig, big dividends with that.
But it costs a lot, and I mean, there's a reason. It's
worth it. It's worth it.
They're seeing it so far.
And Kenton is really a really driver. He's really, really good.
Proven that time and time again. He's
got to pass Greg Leofouge, which is also a very
Yes, so we got an update down in pit lane. I think Patrick Byrne, the co-driver of Russell Walker, is standing by with Amanda.
Oh, yeah, and they're currently leading the M class. Could shape up to be a really good day for NOLA Sport, but as we round into 11 minutes left in competition, Patrick, when you watch Russell on track, what are you seeing out of y'all's effort?
Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's running consistent laps. I mean, it's all about getting to the end of the race here. So we're ahead of the competition, so it's just conserving those tires and putting down consistent 50s, and that'll keep us ahead of everyone and finish where we need to be. The boys in NOLA Sport, obviously, we have the overall right now, and then in class, the boys in NOLA Sport putting down some fast cars this weekend. They're doing a really good job. Car's easy to stay under us, so we just keep it there and put down those laps.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Good to hear from Patrick Byrne. Seems to be enjoying his racing, and why not? Leading in class, 4th overall. But they've got some company coming. Looks like this battle for position is catching him ever so slightly. Leofouge in the BMW, then the Aston Martin of Kenton Cook, who we were talking about a moment ago. Dropping back again, that's the Smooge car, Kevin Conway in that Toyota Supra. Chasing down the Crossbow with Mancilia driving. 17 car is not on the lead lap, it would appear. A bit further down the order. I've got to love that red, white, and blue. Old Glory on the front of the car. And here's a good fight, too, with Andrew Davis trying to hold off the 59 car. And in the 59, it still says Paul Terry. Is that right? I don't think so.
Brandon Davis.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Brandon Davis should be behind the wheel of that car, as a matter of fact. And there is Jerome Bleekemolen in the Black Swan car. Just went with the fastest lap of the race.
And they had to start last.
They did.
Because they didn't qualify. They had a little problem this morning in a practice session. Couldn't get the car out for qualifying, so they had to start last. And, when it comes to Bleekemolen, he's one of the best drivers in the world.
No question about it. I might be the only driver with a gold ranking in this field. I'm not sure about that, but I think that might be true. CrowdStrike fastest lap, as you see on the screen, that last time by. Unused tires for Jerome Bleekemolen, one of the best GT racers you'll find anywhere. Has had opportunities to be a factory driver, but effectively just turns it down. He likes racing anything he can and likes the freedom. He and Tim Pappas, his co-driver, they've run together a lot. They've run Bathurst, they've run other races overseas, here in the States, of course. And Jerome, just an excellent, excellent GT driver, no matter what you put him in. Takes a peek up the inside. We know that car is quick, but had to start at the back. Missed qualifying yesterday, Jack. Do you know why?
They had a little issue on the racetrack and had to replace a few parts and pieces. Didn't hurt it bad, but it took a little time to repair it.
That's too bad, but a nice recovery to this point. Jerome running right now in the 13th spot, has that car up to 7th in Pro-Am and has 2 positions up in front of him if he can get them. Has 8 minutes left to try and do so. Lap traffic up ahead, that's going to throw a wrench into this, and a couple other cars entering the fray. This is some juicy stuff heading into turn 4.
Yeah, he's got them stacked up. The 17 car's got them stacked up behind him, but they really won't buy.
17 car racing out of the TRG stable. I think that's Robert Orcutt driving alongside Jim Rappaport this year.
Yep.
And just drifts a little bit wide there in the carousel. Opens the door for a couple of the front runners to get through. Bleekemolen going to pounce as well. Drone, he's got that red mist in his eyes, I'm sure. He can see his prey just up the road. He's a hard one to withstand. I mean, when he gets you in his crosshairs, more often than not, he gets the job done. Should mention the lead has only grown. Jason Hart over Warren Dexter. Now 19 seconds. This is a pass for position. Brandon on Andrew Davis. Don't believe there's any relation there.
No.
That is for position as mentioned. Looks like 5th in the Pro-Am standings. Here comes Andrew back on the attack, and Bulikamolen pouncing.
Looking outside.
Going to try and make the long way around work. It is awfully dusty out there, and it looked like just couldn't get the grip.
But he's got position now. Watch what happens going up the hill.
That's it exactly. Able to hang tight.
That was a nice move. That was a pro move right there.
Stays on the flank and gets the job done down the front straightaway.
It wasn't about that corner. It was about the position and where I'm going to be at the top of the hill. And look where he is.
Jack Baldwin knows what he's talking about. He's won a few races over the years. Pleasure to have you with here for this one. Down under 6 minutes remaining. We'll keep an eye on what Bulikamolen can do. Now up to 6th in the Pro-Am standings. The 450 and the 15.
Yeah, that's Brett Strom in the 450 car. That's his teammate is Darren Jorgensen, and they're going to run for this full season this year.
That's great. They tend to bounce in and out of various championships.
Well, they run all over the world.
Exactly right.
But Kenton looks like he's got it in there. Okay, he finally got by.
Not for position there, but nevertheless important. It puts one car in between Kenton Cook and chasing Russell Walker. And again, Russell Walker in the AM category, not really racing with these other guys for class position. His closest pursuer is back in 10th overall, quite a ways behind.
Right, and he knows he's got a P1 situation, so he just needs to stay out of trouble and basically bring it home.
Don't want to fight too hard when these Pro-Am cars are coming through.
Right, it's risk-reward at this point.
You can see the glare on the camera lens there. That's what these drivers are dealing with in this part of the track as well. You might run a tinted visor or something like that to try and help. Some drivers wear sunglasses under the helmets, but it's still a challenge. Sun straight in your eyes, especially this time of day.
Yeah, and that hill, that's a big hill. That's a big, steep hill to climb.
140 feet of elevation change around this place from highest point to lowest point. That just adds to the challenge of Sonoma Raceway. What a day for NOLA Sport. They gotta love what they're seeing. Here we go, Jerome Bulikamolen chasing down Kenton Cook. Experience versus youth. Kenton, actually, in spite of his youth, actually he does have a great deal of experience. Came up through the Mazda ranks at various times. Got into prototype racing, won a class victory at the 24 Hours of Daytona 4 or 5 years ago. But
they were on the podium this year.
Yes, you're right. And has not really had that big break, and kind of has just made that break for himself, helping with this B Sport Racing team, which, as mentioned, showed very, very well. This is for position, I think, on the Smooch car. Might be wrong on that. No, I don't think so.
So Davis, 59 car.
Oh, yes, apologies. So actually we're looking at Davis there, not Cook. Sorry about that. But you're right. So Bulikamolen chasing down Davis, rather. So sorry about that, folks. Bear with me. First weekend on the job. We'll get better as we go along.
Oh, you're doing a great job.
Oh, thanks. 3 minutes here to go. And still plenty of positions up for grabs. Keep an eye on Jerome Bulikamolen. He is awfully fast.
And he's just trying to get it to as far front as he can get it. It's like one speed, fast.
It's funny there.
And at this point, you know, almost like I would say to Brandon Davis, just let it go. It's not going to make any difference.
Yeah, it's true. 2.5 minutes left. Probably this lap and one more for this man.
No, that is for position. For point-wise, he needs to keep that position.
Jason Hart, the Texan, paired with Matt Travis the last handful of seasons, and what success they have had. It's been a dynamic duo in so many respects, but just short of the championship. 2 points shy 1 year ago. It came down to the last lap the last 2 years, and they came up second both times. They won 4 races in class last year. They won 7 2 years ago. So 11 wins over the last couple of years and no championship to show for it. I know that motivates them. Catching the back of the field here too, but the lead is such that he can take his time. And Jason Hart's a veteran. He knows how to handle this.
Oh, they know how much time is left, and they know what the split is. Believe me, this is bring it home, Jason.
I think this is the penultimate lap. We're waiting on confirmation there. I don't think they were shown the white flag this time. So, if I'm not mistaken, should have 2 more times past the start-finish line before the checker comes out. Dropping back, Bleekemolen is there. Davis has, a car length advantage at this point, and let's see what Jerome can do under the brakes. Going to show the nose up the inside, not close enough. Davis closes the door. Jerome lets it drift a little bit wide, trying to get back to power. Looked like some oversteer there from the Aston. And here comes Bleekemolen. Hard place to make it work around the outside, but he's going to try. The rapid Dutchman gets to the flank of Davis, but has to fall back in line as they climb the hill.
Brandon's pretty good.
And varied experience in a lot of different cars. He's prepared for a situation like this.
Oh, it's fun to watch this.
It is. Nip and tuck between 2 very accomplished drivers. And back to the leader. Let's see what flag we get. Jason Hart, the number 47 NOLA Sport Cayman, coming around to take the white flag. 2.5 miles to go. That's what separates NOLA Sport from victory in the season opening race.
And I would suspect that Jason will just follow those 3 cars in front of him.
Might be on to
He
something.
doesn't want any part of those guys.
This is the pursuing car. Warren Dexter behind the wheel. I think he's going to be just fine with second overall because he's the leader in the silver class.
Right.
And has that by a pretty solid margin over Christian Shimshak. Just back of the shot, I think, a moment ago, but heck of a debut weekend for this team with this car. And here are your AM leaders. Russell Walker will take this car home. Patrick Byrne had a great opening stint. Another NOLA Sport entry. And I'll tell you what, Jack, you called it. You said this is a good track for the Caymans, and they have shown very well.
Yeah, through the years, this is an excellent track. When we ran our Cayman here, this was our favorite track.
I was about to say, you know a little something about the Caymans going back a few years. Hart is going to make a move to the outside of this last traffic. Whoa! That's not what you want to see when you're the leader on the final lap of the race with a massive lead. Did have a spin. Hart able to miss it. Hart in his throat, I am sure.
Yeah,
through the S's now for the final time. I bet that pulse is racing. That'll teach him for trying to make that move.
He is just going to sit there and say, I'm just going to follow these guys to the line. Nice and easy. Nobody's coming, Jason. Just take your time.
Here they come through the chicane. Just a couple of corners left to negotiate. The STAC 28 car.
You probably take it down on the inside of this car. Might take him. Probably. Yep.
Looks like Jason
That's
Hart.
That's very safe. That's a very safe move right there. It's no problem.
So through the hairpin, and for the 3rd straight year, NOLA Sport opens the season with a race 1 win. They did it at Circuit of the Americas the last 2 years. Here now in 2021, victory for NOLA Sport at Sonoma Raceway. Here comes your silver class leader, 2nd overall, the brothers Dexter. Their father Zane looks over this team, and they've got their first SRO America win. Congratulations to the little team from Nebraska. Back to the NOLA Sport car running currently here in the 5th overall position, the leaders in the AM category. How about it? Patrick Byrne, the late call-up to join this man. Russell Walker. Looks like a pretty good decision to say yes. They will win the AM class here at Sonoma to kick off the 2021 Pirelli GT4 America season.
And what do you think about that Toyota? First time, Kevin Conway, 3rd in AM. First race out.
Tell you what.
Brand new team. That's great.
He is a very good driver. His co-driver, young John Jesbray, not a lot of experience, just a season of MX5 Cup, no racing before that, and straight into the fire of Pirelli GT4 America. Turned in a good stint of his own, gave the car in good condition to Kevin Conway, and Kevin got the job done. I know he and the rest of that Smooth Racing team will be thrilled with that result. And speaking of thrilled, I cannot wait for our Amanda Busick to get her first interview with Matt Travis, who, in addition to being a fantastic race car driver, is a hoot to talk to.
Yeah.
And will frequently work in references to motorsports movies to the post-race interviews. So, Amanda, be on your toes. Something is coming, and he's got the Puma from Talladega Nights on the hood of that car. So I suspect that might be the direction this is coming.
So you see Jason driving offline and driving outside where all the dust is. He's wanting to pick up as much marbles as he can.
And why would he do that,
No
Jack?
trouble.
What's the secret?
Just in case they're a little short on ride height. Every little bit makes those tires a little bigger. It's just a little insurance policy. You see what he's doing? He's not the only one doing it, if you notice.
You're giving away all the
There's a reason
secrets.
why. And, you know, it just all those little things, when they start to measure, maybe it's a couple millimeters, might be the difference.
Might be. Let's take a look at the results here. Matt Travis, Jason Hart, your winners to open the season in Pirelli GT4 America. Ryan and Warren Dexter, great job by the brothers, teaming up to finish in second, but win the silver class. Second in silver, third overall to Murillo Racing, Christian Shimshak and Kenny Murillo. Probably a salve on the wound. I know they're disappointed with the way that their Porsche entry went. And again, got to give a call to the AM class winners. Russell Walker teaming up with Patrick Byrne. They come home fifth overall and a dominant win in the AM category. As you take a look at the teams, manufacturers, and the gaps at the end of this one.
Look at Nola's board. I mean, can't say enough about him.
The gauntlet has been thrown, to say the least, dropping down a little bit further. John Miller, Chandler Hull showed well in the opening stint, but Chandler seemed like just didn't have that car to his liking late in the going. Gray Newell, his debut in pro racing, teaming up with the veteran Ian James. They bring that Heart of Racing car home in 20th, representing Aston Martin. Definitely deserve some recognition for what they did. Another team making its debut, Random Vandals Racing, Paul Sparta and Al Carter teaming up there. Good job for that crew in their first ever pro level race. Something to build off of for sure. And hopefully we'll be seeing Gizmo the raccoon, their mascot, which you can see all over that car at the front of the field here before too much longer. That's your race winner, or at least one of them. Jason Hart getting out of the car. He's getting that helmet off. His co-driver Matt Travis should be nearby, and as soon as Amanda's got it all set up, I think she does now. Let's get down to Amanda with our first Pirelli GT4 America Victory Lane interview of 2021.
And that was John Sherrick, the team owner.
And Jason, you brought it underneath the checkered flag, but right on that last lap, there was a spin right in front of you. How much was your heart going at that moment?
I was pretty worried. There was a bunch of cars. There was a lap car wanting to get by, which was fine by me, and then our teammate getting spun by the McLaren, which was interesting. He gave him plenty of room. But, you know, we run a really strict nutrition plan here at NOLA Sport, and it's all about piston excellence, and that's what we're doing.
Congratulations, Jason.
Thank you.
How about that? Jason Hart taking over the mantle of the quotester for Matt Travis. That was a bit of a surprise. Apologies for the language, but everyone's very excited, to say the least. A great start to the season, and a mea culpa from me to Jason. I said, why are you making that move on that lap? Evidently, he was actually letting a lap car through, so he was being the responsible one. My apologies.
Yeah.
Those are the Dexter Racing boys. Warren climbing out. For many years had some long flowing locks, but he's got those trimmed up, said it's just a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And hasn't slowed him down any, maybe made him a little bit quicker. Brother Ryan right there alongside. Can't wait to hear from them. They've had success in Trans Am, they've had success in club level racing, but this is a big step for that team and big for them to get the silver class win. And we'll be hearing from them in a moment. In fact, we'll hear from them right now, Amanda.
Warren, out kick it off with you since you brought it in here. A great debut for you guys here this weekend. Quite a margin on the car sitting in the second spot. How much confidence that give you heading into tomorrow?
A ton. Yeah, the car felt great. Even down to the last 5 minutes is still clicking them off. So, no, I feel good going into tomorrow. A repeat will be great, but we start a little bit farther back, so we'll have a little bit of work cut out for us for sure.
And Ryan, in the driver change, was there any information you were able to relay to your brother ahead of his journey?
Yeah, I mean, the car was feeling really good. We were able to hand it over a great car, which was able to keep good pace with my brother, and was able to take it to the end, and hopefully he can hand me the same car tomorrow, and we can do a repeat.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you much.
Really good stuff out of those two, and Warren's making me feel a little bit better about losing out to him in a duel in that Spec Miata race 6 years ago.
Yeah, there you go.
Looks like he was pretty good all along. Maybe
Yeah.
finishing second to Warren is actually making me look a little bit better.
Yeah.
So thank you. And we'll, I'm sure, hear from our AM winners here in just a moment, but I can't say enough how impressive it is. This is one of the smaller teams in the series, Dexter Racing.
Absolutely.
And they have announced their presence. They're going to be a team to watch.
And, from my point of view, series manager point of view,
You happy?
No, I'm happy. No wreck cars. I mean, we got a little bumping and grinding, but nothing crazy.
And how about our AM class winners? Also from NOLA Sport. We'll get there in just a second. Amanda is standing by, and I think we'll be hearing from Patrick BYRNE and Russell Walker here shortly. A really good run for them and completing a solid day for NOLA Sport. Winners in 2 classes, including overall. There's Matt Travis now joining Jason Hart. He'll be a happy guy. And it sounds like Amanda is ready with our AM class winners. Amanda?
And I'm standing by with Russell Walker at the moment. Congratulations on the win. But it was a last-minute decision to bring up Patrick BYRNE. Seeing how he handled the first part of that race, how happy are you with that decision?
Woo! Very
Nice
happy.
work.
He did great. It's been a pleasure working for them so far. Like you said, this deal came together Monday. My dad and I ran the season last year, and he had a hand surgery, and really wanted to be here, but it didn't recover in time. So thankfully, Patrick was able to step up to the plate and absolutely delivered. So I want to say thank you, Dad. Wish you were here. And the team is amazing. This is a great race.
Patrick, on Monday, you found out you were headed to Sonoma. On Saturday, you're leaving with a win. How satisfying is that?
Yeah, it's fantastic. And, thanks, Dad. I mean, the seat was open. Fantastic. It was great. I really appreciate it. No, he did a great job, and the entire team set up such a great car. So, no, it's extremely satisfying to show up here. Great track, great car for this track, and the car's on top. So, yeah.
Congratulations to our Pirelli GT4 winners.
Well done. All involved. Congratulations to all of our podium finishers and class winners. Here are the highlights from the opening round of the 2021 Pirelli GT4 America season. NOLA Sport on pole, and they really weren't challenged in this race. Field streaming up the hill, a clean start. Not so clean here for Elias Sabo. Had an off a little bit earlier in the race. Some contact, some damage. This was a big moment. It took the Bimmer World car out of contention, a drive-through penalty for an unsafe release for what you saw a moment ago. Great fights up and down the field. BMW versus Aston Martin right here through the S's. Here's Jerome Bleekemolen making the outside work in that Black Swan Racing Porsche Cayman. Able to get by Andrew Davis, GMG Racing. Aston Martin, the first race weekend for that team with that car. Bleekemolen put in a great performance. Black Swan has to be happy coming from the back. They're able to make their way up quite a ways, and that right on the final lap in front of our overall leader. Not what Jason Hart wanted to see, but he keeps it clean and crosses the line first under the checkered flag. NOLA Sport celebrates 2 class wins to open the Pirelli GT4 America season. You mentioned it earlier, Jack. Class manager's a happy guy. A lot of happy folks up and down the pit lane, and excited to see what tomorrow has in store.
It's a great start to the season, and look forward to another great race tomorrow.
Yeah, excited for tomorrow. If it's anything like today, it should be a ton of fun. There's a great look at the verdant landscape here at Sonoma, and it will play host to a full day of action again tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us. For everyone who's played a part in our broadcast here today, we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll be back for more SRO America action tomorrow on GT World.